You're listening to the Wool Academy podcast. This is episode number 43.
Hello and welcome. My name is Elisabeth van Delden, and once a week we talk to an industry expert from the wool industry supply chain from farm to fashion and beyond, delivering strategies and insights to be successful in wool and showcasing those beautiful stories wool has to tell.
Today on the show, I welcome Silvia Gambi. Silvia is the manager of external relations of the Chamber of Commerce in Prato, in Italy. Silvia is a law graduate and works as a journalist and has been involved in textile and fashion for 15 years. Yeah, hello Silvia. It's so good to have you on the show. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. And you, Elisabeth?
I'm also good. Thank you so much. Well, I would like to start our interview by you telling us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do.
Okay. My name is Silvia Gambi. I live in Prato and I work in the Chamber of Commerce in Prato. I am involved in the development of Chamber of Commerce projects, in particular in textile and fashion, and I am engaged in the Cardato Recyclable project.
Okay, and to get a little bit better understanding about the Chamber of Commerce in Prato, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Okay. The Chamber of Commerce in Prato is a public institution. The mission of the Chamber of Commerce is to deal with the general interests of the production system, promoting local development, market regulation and transparency, providing links between the business system and the public authorities.
And what is so special about Prato and the relationship also of Prato with wool?
We have a long love story with wool. Prato began to specialize in textile in 12th century when garment manufacturing was regulated by the Wool Merchants Guild. The political and economic decline experienced in Italy during the 16th and 17th centuries caused a drop in textile activities, which resumed in the late 18th century with the production of knit caps made for Arab markets. In the Prato area, industrial activities got underway at the end of the 19th century with the introduction of mechanization and with the capitalistic intensification of textile working processes that promote their geographical concentration. Now we are one of the biggest industrial districts in Europe, and Prato represents a production model that has been the subject of numerous studies and research projects. And all our work is about wool because our companies work with virgin wool and regenerated wool.
Can you give us a little bit of a history about Prato's wool industry?
In Prato, we produces recycled wool from the period after the Second War, and we recycled wool in the carding wool processing. In Italy, this is called Cardato. In Prato, a significant contribution to industrial expansion was due to the lower cost of carded wool processing, caused by the gradual increase in production of recovered wool obtained from shredding old clothes and industrial scraps. That was another feature that would characterize the town's inward and outward image for decades. Basically, up to the World War II, the Prato textile industry was divided in two production circuits. One based on large for Prato, vertically integrated companies with generally low-level standard production made for export to the poorer markets like Africa, India. The other based on groups of firms carrying out subcontract work for the production of articles designed for the clothing markets. Between the post-war period and the early 50s, the outlets towards low-level standard production market rapidly disappeared and the large vertically organized companies quickly dissolved. So the production system underwent a rapid evolution and the result was not so much the decentralization of subcontract work, but an original form of reorganization largely based on the widespread distribution of work among small-scale enterprises, the so-called industrial district. These two dynamic factors of the new system were the subcontracting firms, which carried out the actual production, and the front-end firms, which were involved in product design, work organization, and sale.
And I think I once heard that the image of recycled wool changed a little bit. I think you said that to me as well when we met in Harrogate, that a few years ago nobody really valued recycled wool very highly, but now actually the image of recycled wool has changed over time. Can you explain that a little bit more in detail?
And from many years, recycled wool was something like rags, so something dirty. In the for the people, recycled was rag. But now we know that with the green economy and the green revolution, recycled is a very good thing. Sustainability is all different. The district-based model was compatible with many aspects of the previous production system, but it was especially in line with the new profile assumed by the marketplace. The main business was still processing carded wool from recycled materials. However, a crucial innovation made carded wool more competitive and more suitable for the clothing industry's requirement for lighter fabrics. The introduction of nylon, which could be spun into yarns having a much finer count and could be interwoven with wool as baking rags. Selection. This innovation helped to consolidate Prato's position in this market segment and full rapid development that found fertile ground in the district in terms of expertise, propensity for entrepreneurial risk taking, availability of capital, and so on. The techniques of recycling process, in addition to being fascinating to watch, indicate a culture that has conscience for the environment, respect for human resources, and the tradition of skill and serious professional entrepreneurship. The use of regenerative fibers has been neglected in the recent years with the discovery of new synthetic and the growing demand for more expensive virgin fibers, partly as the response to expanding economies and also the new consumer logic.
And you just talked about the recycling process. And can you explain a little bit how the typical wool recycling process works? How do we need to imagine that?
Carding is a specific way of processing fibers. The yarns are produced using virgin fibers, but also reusing fibers obtained for recycling old clothing or nicks, and cuttings of new fabrics used in the garment industry. The important feature of this process is that it can use short fibers and different lengths in blends of the most variable composition. The result is a yarn with a particular aspect that distinguishes it from the other type of yarn known as worsted.
And when we talk about recycled wool from Prato, I also now know that you have your own recycled standard. Can you explain a little bit more in detail what is all there to know about the recycled wool standard from Prato?
Okay, Chamber of Commerce in Prato have created a label, a trademark that's called Cardato Recycled. To display the Cardato Recycled trademarks, fabrics and yarns must be produced in the Prato district. be made with at least 75 recycled materials, and have measured the environmental impacts of its entire production cycle, taking into account three aspects: water, energy, and CO2 consumption levels, in according with the LCA life cycle assessment theory.
Yeah, and we already talked a few times about life cycle assessment here on the show, so that fits quite well into that. And what kind of products work really well with recycled wool fabrics? Can you give maybe some examples?
You can use it in many different ways, in fashion, but also in furniture. We have many young designers interested in our products, and they always think about something new. If you can use wool, you can use recycled wool. And now there is a strong trend to promote the wool.
And do you also see like all brands interested in recycled wool, or are they coming from certain areas of the market? So who would typically source recycled wool from Prato?
Prato companies have many customers all over the world. They work with the most important fashion brand. They work with the most important fashion brands, and they are very interested in Cardato's production. We have also many companies that work with recycled cashmere, and also this product is very interesting for the market. Our companies work with the most important brands, but also with Zara, H&M. Many brands are interested in this type of production, because many brands are working on LCA approach. So now the life cycle assessment is very important for to narrate the history of a product, the history of the impact of the product. And Cardato Recycled is in this type of aspect is very important, and is very appreciated.
And when a consumer buys a product made out of recycled wool, would they know, or would they actually not see the difference? Or are brands using also some tags to identify that it's recycled wool? How would the consumer find out about the product?
This is a brand choice. We give to the company the certification, Cardato Recycled, and the report about the life cycle impact of their production. The brand can choose to use it and display the Cardato Recycled blend on the label, or the brand can have its own sustainability strategy and integrate the information in Cardato Recycled brand here. We can see many companies that have a green line and a green narration about the product, and Cardato Recycled could be a part of this strategy.
So then you have a specific logo that these companies can use on their products.
Yes.
Okay. And are there particular fashion or trade fairs where anyone who's interested to maybe feel and see the fabrics could find out more about Cardato recycled fabrics?
They can check on our website, cardato.it or cardato.com, and we have also an English translation of the site, and so they can have all the information they need, and they can also write me.
Okay, that's great as well. But would you, as a Chamber of Commerce, also be at a specific fabric fair, or would only the individual companies be at fabric fairs?
But usually our company participate to more important fairs in Europe and in the world. You can find the Cardato Recycled companies in the Premier Vision, for example, but also in last week in Milano Unica, and then you can find them in Munich Star Fabrik. Usually they are present in these fairs.
Okay, great. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, well, thank you so much, Silvia, for giving us an update and an introduction to the Chamber of Commerce in Prato, but also, most importantly, about the Cardato recycled standard. That's a really interesting project, or interesting way to promote wool and the green side of wool as well. I thank you so much for your time, and I wish you much success in the future.
Thank you, Elisabeth, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was a quick and short interview today with Silvia Gambi. If you want to find out more about the Chamber of Commerce in Prato and the Prato Cardato Recycled Wool Standard, then visit the show notes at elisabethvandelden.com/043. Once again, elisabethvandelden.com/043. We love that you're listening to this podcast and really appreciate you. Make sure you also connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. See you there, and bye for now.